I caught my boyfriend cheating on me with my best friend and I'm beyond humiliated. Hi everyone, the past few days have been some of the worst of my life, and I'm not sure exactly what to think or do. This is my first time posting on here, so please bear with me. Every time I think back to the moment I caught him with my best friend, who I have known since we were children, I have to physically fight off the urge to vomit. Sometimes, the pressure on my chest gets to be too much that it hurts to breathe. I haven't eaten, I've barely slept. I've had to use a few personal days these past few days as I cannot even fathom the idea of getting out of my bed, let alone heading into work. I, 24F, had no reason to believe that my boyfriend, 26M, would ever do this to me. Betray me, humiliate me like this. I met my boyfriend when I was an undergrad, my freshman year. He was 2 years into his engineering degree. We met at a party that his fraternity was hosting. We've been pretty inseparable since he first asked me out. He is my best friend, my person. We have the kind of intimacy that you don't get with very many people in a lifetime, and I've constantly had to pinch myself throughout my relationship every time I look at his handsome face. He's the kind of man that would ask me to slow dance in our kitchen to my fave John Mayer song. I would often joke with him whenever he would come home, yes, we share an apartment together, from the gym or work a little later than anticipated, and ask if he'd been out effing another girl. I would ask how the lovemaking was, and if she was better than me. But these conversations were always in good fun, never serious. We would always end up laughing it off, cause the idea of him every straying is so far from the actual truth. He's constantly reassuring me that I have nothing to worry about, that he loves me so deeply, he chooses me every day, and that he would get it tattooed on his skin if it meant that much to me. Obviously, I told him he would do no such thing. He really is everything I could ever want in a partner. He was my everything. Which makes what happened all the more nauseating. This past Saturday, I was called into work. I am a nurse, but I'm just starting out at this place, so it is very typical for someone in my position to start on call. A mutual friend of my boyfriend and I was throwing birthday party out on his lake house, and asked my boyfriend and I to come. My best friend, 24F, who I suppose is now my ex-best friend, was also going to be there. She and I went to the same college, but were in different majors. She has been in relationships, but is what I call a serial dater, a new guy every few months or so. I never had any reason to suspect anything was happening between her and my boyfriend, as they were always cordial and got along just fine. We would eat takeout together at our dining room table whenever she'd visit, and their conversation was always very surface level. The kind of relationship you would expect between an older brother and younger sister. And if she'd stay the night, she and I would sleep together in my bed and my boyfriend would take the couch in the living room at his insistence. Her and I graduated high school and college together. And while I haven't had as much of a chance to hang with her as of recently, she is currently in school for her master's, due to our busy schedules. I never in a million years could have predicted she would do this to me. So last Saturday, I told my boyfriend that I would try to make it to our friend's party, but he should go have fun. At first he relented, saying he was fine staying in, but finally gave in and agreed to go for a couple of hours. I ended up getting to leave my shift a little bit early, just past 11 p.m. I had been texting and snapping him throughout the night, and he stopped replying a little after 10. Again, I had no reason to be suspicious or concerned at all, as I trusted this man completely and fully. I didn't actually arrive until a little after midnight at the lake house, and to my surprise found a lot of people were there. I wasn't able to get a hold of my boyfriend, or my best friend, which I figured was fine, and chalked it up to her having let her phone die. After asking around, including the birthday boy, I was told to try one of the many upstairs bedrooms. He wasn't in any of the rooms. But as I approached the ensuite of the master, I heard love-making sounds and what clearly sounded like two people effing. I will never forget the way time stood still as I opened that door, finding my boyfriend of 6 years deep inside my best friend. I couldn't find it in me to actually say anything in that moment. I think I was in shock or something. Only after he noticed me standing there, did I snap out of my momentary daze and ran out of there. Both he and my best friend were completely exposed, scrambling to get their clothes back on, he claiming it was a mistake and that he was so sorry. I could smell the whiskey on his breath, so he was clearly drunk. I think they were both crying. I couldn't care less. I couldn't even really see past a few feet in front of me. I struggled to breathe, especially with the already crowded atmosphere of the house. He tried grabbing onto my arm to get me to listen to him, but only after shouting at him to not touch me, did he let me go. When I made it home, I immediately looked up last-minute services to get my locks changed, which were done at some point the next afternoon. Both he and my best friend have been blowing up my phone with texts, calls, requests to FaceTime. I couldn't bring myself to look at any of the messages. I've just been so numb to the world. My entire friend group has been texting me too. They can all get F for all I care. He hasn't tried to come home in the past few days. He probably suspects that I need space after I so blatantly caught him deep in someone else, my best friend. I think he might be staying with her, but I'm not sure. I'm devastated. This feeling that I'm going through, I would never wish on anyone. He is the second half of my heart. I thought that I was going to marry this man. I saw everything with him, he was my future. And she was my closest friend. I'm sorry for the novel-length post, but clearly I needed to get some of this out. I'm not sure what to do next. I refuse to answer any of his or her texts. A part of me has entertained the idea of just icing them out. Complete cutoff with communication. Get a few of my friends to move his stuff out onto the curb. We collectively own this apartment, so eventually we may need to figure out what happens with it. I'm just so lost. If anyone has gone through something similar like this, any words of encouragement would be so deeply appreciated. Can't seem to get any of that from my life right now. I'm so effing tired of crying, and yet every time I entertain images of that night, my traitorous eyes start up again.